Admiral Zethvar had seen countless worlds burn in the Great Expansion Wars, witnessed civilizations rise and fall, and commanded fleets that could shatter moons. Yet nothing had prepared him for the sight before him in the slums of New Geneva Station. His daughter Helen, barely 10 cycles old in Zarathi years, sat cross-legged on the grimy metal floor beside a human child who couldn't have been more than 12 Earth years. The human girl's clothes were patched and threadbare, her dark hair matted, and her shoes held together with scrap metal tape. But her eyes, those bright, determined eyes, sparkled as she drew diagrams in the dust with a broken stylus. "You see, Helen," the human girl was saying in broken galactic standard, "your father's ships use quantum tunneling for faster-than-light travel, but humans, we had to be, how you say, creative." Admiral Zethvar pressed himself against the shadowed alcove, his 4 hearts beating rapidly. He had been searching for Helen for hours after she'd slipped away from her tutors again. The child had a habit of wandering into the station's lower levels, much to his security detail's horror. "Creative how, Elsa?" Helen asked, her tentacles writhing with curiosity, a sure sign of intellectual engagement in their species. Elsa grinned, revealing a gap where a tooth should have been. "We couldn't afford the fancy quantum drives like your people, so we built generation ships, huge vessels that would take hundreds of years to reach other stars. Whole families would live and die during the journey, never seeing their destination." Helen's large, multifaceted eyes widened. They would never see the end of their journey? Why would they do such a thing? "For their children," Elsa said simply. "And their children's children. Humans think very far ahead when it comes to hope." The Admiral felt something twist in his chest. In Zarathi culture, such sacrifice was considered illogical, inefficient. Yet something about the human girl's words resonated with a frequency he hadn't felt before. "But that's not the amazing part," Elsa continued, warming to her subject. "When we finally got quantum drives, humans did something no other species had ever done. We went back." "Back?" "We found every single generation ship still traveling. Through space. Some had been flying for 300 years, and we brought them all home." Elsa's voice grew soft with wonder. Every family was reunited with the civilization their ancestors had helped create. Helen was quiet for a long moment. "Your species honors its ancestors by remembering their sacrifices. We honor them by finishing what they started," Elsa corrected gently. Admiral Zethvar stepped forward, his massive form casting a shadow over the 2 children. Both girls looked up, and he saw fear flash across Elsa's face, the practiced wariness of someone who had learned to expect trouble from authority figures. "Father." Helen scrambled to her feet. "I'm sorry I left the upper levels, but Elsa was teaching me about human history and peace, little star," the Admiral said, using his pet name for his daughter. His gaze fixed on Elsa, who had also stood but held herself ready to run. "You are Elsa?" The human girl lifted her chin defiantly. "Yes, sir. I wasn't doing nothing wrong, just talking." "Indeed." The Admiral studied her for a long moment. "Tell me, child, where did you learn of generation ships and quantum retrieval operations?" "The data terminals in the public library," Elsa said. "I read everything they got on human history. Takes my mind off." She gestured vaguely at her patched clothes. "Off being hungry?" the Admiral asked quietly. Elsa's defiance crumbled slightly. "Sometimes." Helen looked between her father and her new friend, her tentacles curling with distress. "Father, Elsa doesn't have family here. Her parents died in the mining accident on Kepler 442b, and she's been alone for 6 months," Elsa finished. "But I'm doing okay. I learn stuff, and sometimes I help other kids with their homework for food credits." The Admiral felt his worldview shifting like tectonic plates. Here was a child, alone, hungry, forgotten by the system, who spent her time in libraries and teaching others. In Zarathi society, she would have been placed in care immediately. But humans, he realized, often fell through the cracks of their own compassion. "Elsa," he said, crouching down to her eye level, "what do you want to be when you grow up?" The girl's eyes lit up. A xenohistorian. I want to study how different species remember their past and learn from it. Humans aren't the only ones with amazing stories, you know. The Zarathi colonization of the Andromeda Spiral, that was incredible too. Helen bounced excitedly. Father, you were there. You were one of the youngest ship commanders in the fleet. You were? Elsa's eyes went, why, oh wow, I have so many questions about the logistical challenges of enough, the Admiral said, but he was smiling. Both of you come with me. As they walked through the station's corridors toward the upper levels, the Admiral activated his personal communicator. Chief Administrator, this is Admiral Zethvar. I need to discuss adoption procedures for a human child. Yes, immediately. Helen grabbed Elsa's hand with her smaller tentacle. You're going to love the upper levels, and Father has the best library in 3 sectors. Elsa looked up at the towering Admiral. Sir, why are you helping me? Admiral Zethvar paused, considering his words carefully. Because, young historian, you have taught me something today. Humans don't just honor their ancestors by remembering them. You honor your future by ensuring no child's potential is wasted. No story goes untold. He looked down at both girls, his daughter and this remarkable human child who had wandered into their lives. Besides, I believe every great admiral needs a xenohistorian to help them understand the cultures they encounter. Does that mean, Elsa began. It means you have a family now, Helen interrupted, her tentacles practically glowing with joy. And Father will make sure you never have to worry about food credits again. As news of the Admiral's adoption spread, through the station and eventually across the galactic networks, beings from 100 different worlds watched the footage of 2 children, 1 alien, 1 human, walking hand in hand through the corridors of power, already deep in discussion about the comparative mythology of spacefaring civilizations. And in that moment, the galaxy remembered why humanity had earned its place among the stars. Not through superior technology or military might, but through their unshakable belief that every individual story mattered, every dream deserved a chance to flourish, and every child, no matter how lost, could find their way home.